what it was like to serve in the Royal Navy in the 1700s. We often imagine naval life in the 18th century as harsh and thankless. However, the Royal Navy offered a decent life for professional sailors. Every ship's captain knew that food was the primary concern of his crew, so he ensured they were well fed and kept their dinner time sacred. Sailors were usually allowed 90 minutes to deal with their rations. They would only be called away from the table in an emergency. Their diet mostly included salt meat, hardtack, and sauerkraut. One of the greatest threats to health on long sea voyages was scurvy. It is a potentially fatal disease caused by a deficiency of vitamin C. This vitamin is normally sourced from fresh fruit and vegetables. The Royal Navy made a huge effort to find a cure for scurvy. On Captain Cook's first voyage, many remedies were tried. They ranged from sauerkraut to extract of malt. Preventing the disease was very important. Cook even resorted to disciplinary measures to make his men eat their rations. The crew managed to avoid other diseases, such as dysentery and typhus. It was due to keeping the ship, the crew, and their clothes clean. Cleanliness became a Royal Navy mania and kept the sailors very busy. In the 18th century, discipline meant organization. Men were punished if they failed to do their duty. Among the worst offenses were falling asleep on duty or refusing to follow orders. Unclean behavior was also punishable. All of these offenses threatened the safety of the ship and her crew. Naval punishment was not very severe. Sailors were a scarce and valuable resource that no captain would waste. There was no system of imprisonment or financial penalty. Punishment was fulfilled through flogging, and sailors could return to duty. Formal punishments were always inflicted in public. Consciously theatrical methods were used to ensure the maximum deterrent effect. Sailors generally went to sea as boys. By the time they were 16, they could be rated as seamen. They normally served at sea for another 10 years. Then they settled down and took up a local sailing job. Only a small percentage of men stayed at sea. Those rose to be naval petty officers and merchant shipmasters. Professional sailors were skilled, daring, and resourceful men. The social divisions of the Navy were by no means class-based. Not all officers were gentlemen. Some rose through the ranks of seamen and master to gain their position. Others were admitted as officers despite humble origins. They had to pass formal examinations in all aspects of seamanship. They had to serve at least 6 years at sea before they could be commissioned as lieutenant. Further promotion to commander and captain was through merit, bravery, or patronage. Captains were promoted to admiral through seniority. Despite stereotypes, large numbers of women went to sea. Usually, they were the wives of the petty officers. They were mature women who played important roles. They provided medical treatment and handled ammunition. Some women even entered under assumed male identities. Therefore, quite a few children were born on board warships.